Hey, welcome to Ignition Point. I'm Debbie Hart.
Sean Finnegan.
And today we have Maya Nichol, Instagram growth specialist. In less than 3 years, she went from 0 to 287,000 followers, all organic, no paid marketing. How did you do that?
What made you just say, hey, I'm going to go out here, I'm going to put it all on Instagram?
For me, it really started actually in a totally different path than most people would think, which is when I was in college. I was in nursing school, and I got into the nursing program at my university, and I realized very quickly that I needed a flexible job that would bring in income, that would still allow me to go to nursing school because it's very demanding and I wouldn't be able to clock into like a 9-to-5 job. And so I started looking for, I guess, kind of unconventional job opportunities that I would be able to make money, whether that be just enough money to pay for groceries, but just something to be able to support me and my husband at the time. We were just newly married. And I came across network marketing, and that was totally a foreign concept to me. Like I had seen people make money online for sure, but for me, I never thought that that would be possible. I grew up in a really small town in Idaho. I saw the people who were making money online, and I was like, that's like so far out of reach, but like that'd be so cool if that could be me one day. And when I came across network marketing, I was like, wait a second, like I think I could do this. And so there was like this little light bulb moment where I was like, wait, this kind of seems like it's a little bit more in reach than I thought. And so I started out in network marketing and very quickly realized that it was something I was really good at, like online marketing, and something that I loved doing. And so I dropped out of nursing school after my very first semester, and I took my network marketing business full-time, which I say full-time in air quotes because looking back, at the time, for me, that was a lot of money. I was making like about $1,000 to $2,000 a month, which I was like, this is amazing.
This is, yeah.
But now I'm like, in retrospect, like not.
But that's very hard to do, to create, $0 up to 1,000 to 2 online, and it's all new to you.
Yeah, and it was totally new, and I was going to school for nursing, not for business or for marketing. Like, I had no skill set in that whatsoever. And so I was like, this is amazing. And Reels came out around that same time. And at first I was like, no, like Reels, that's so dumb. I'm not going to do that because I hadn't gotten on TikTok. I was like, that's also dumb. And so I was like very resistant to it. But then a few months after Reels came out, I saw all these people who were growing by tens of thousands of followers on Instagram. And I was like, wait a second, I want that. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to do the Reels. And so I started with a 30-day Reels challenge because that's what was popular at the time. These people who were growing, they were like, hey, do this 30-day Reels challenge, which is posting 30 Reels in 30 days. So 1 Reel a day for 30 days. I was like, great. That's all I have to do to grow tens of thousands of followers, which is going to help my business grow and help my impact. I was like, great, sign me up. So I did 30 Reels, 30 days. This was in May of 2021. And after those 30 days, I didn't grow at all. It was like cricket.
Oh, no.
Did you grow up to a certain point in the 30 days and then it just stopped?
No.
Or during the 30, nothing?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So
They
0
didn't
in the
tell
30.
you what kind of content or time of day or anything. They're like, just post Reels.
Yeah.
And you're seeing tens of thousands of growth, and you're like, okay, all I have to do is this a recipe, 30 days.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
And so when there's crickets, I was like, something's not adding up here. But I was very determined. I was like, well, I'll just give it another 30 days. So I did 60 Reels in 60 days. And I grew a little bit, which for me at the time was really great. I think I had, when I very first started the challenge, right around 2,000 followers, which sounds like a lot, but it was just family and friends. Like these weren't people who were my ideal customer by any means. They weren't purchasing from me. And so I wanted to branch out, to be able to reach more people. And so I grew a couple hundred followers within that 60 days. So
a lot better than the 30 days.
Yeah, a lot better than 30 days, but it still wasn't these thousands of followers. So I carried on for another 30 days.
At any point during the 60 days were you like, okay, this is not working, I need to stop?
For me, I was like, I had kind of got into a rhythm of it at this time where I was like, this is kind of fun. Like I was starting to enjoy the content.
21 days makes a habit.
Yeah,
so
it
you're like,
does.
every day you're waking up, I got to do a Reel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so
Was the content about your products, or were you talking about your life, or kind of a combination?
Yeah, that's another interesting thing too, especially because as an Instagram coach now, I'm like, niche down and like that's the way to grow. But really looking back on my journey, I didn't really niche down. And so I was in network marketing, and so I was posting about, join my team and like the aspect of like building your own network marketing business. And I was also selling the products, but there was still some lifestyle content in there too. But as I went throughout, I was like, I'm learning so much from this challenge. Even if I'm not growing, like my content is getting better because, there's repetition. You're going to get better at something over time.
The first ones are really bad.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I look back, I'm like cringing. I'm like, and they're still there. If you scroll way down, you'll still see
some
them.
robotic times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I was learning a lot. And so I was like, I think maybe someone else might want to learn like what I'm learning too. And
from your journey,
from
authentically.
Yeah, exactly. And I had people who were on my network marketing team who were following me, and I was like, well, they might be interested. And so I started sharing like little snippets of tips on Instagram that I was learning, or maybe like little, what I would consider like hacks of like, hey, if you use this feature, or, how to utilize hashtags. But I never did it with the intention of like, oh, I want to become an Instagram coach. It was just like, this is what I'm learning, and maybe someone else out there might find it helpful.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what my content evolved to over time. And I realized that I was really good at that, sharing the tips and sharing the education, and people started a little bit at a time. People were starting to eat it up, and they're like, this is great. I love learning from you. I love the way that you're teaching and the way that, you're presenting this information. And so
now you did 60, and now you're going into the 90.
Yep, 90 reels, 90 days. And I didn't really grow much still after that 90-day period. And it wasn't until 2 weeks after, which I'd continued posting, because again, I was just in a rhythm at that point. I was like, hey, let's just keep going.
I got 200 followers in the last 60 days.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's keep going.
Yeah. So after that 90-day period, like 2 weeks after that, I grew from 4K to 10K in like 2 weeks. And I was like, this is great. And this was back when Instagram didn't have like the tappable link, which now everyone has access to the link on Instagram, but you had the swipe up link. I don't know if you guys remember that, but on stories you could swipe up if you got 10K followers. Right. And I was like, I've made it. Yeah, I remember like walking down the street, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure everyone should just know my name.
Yeah, they all know you at this point. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then it was like 3 months later after that where everyone got access to the link, and I was like, oh, okay, well, anyways. But it was just funny at that time, and I never really expected to really ever go past 10,000 followers. Like my vision was never past that. But once I hit 10K and I started to pick up this momentum, and the momentum didn't stop, people were reaching out to me, and they were like, hey, help me grow my Instagram account. And I was like, hey, join my network marketing team. I would love to help you, because I was sharing with my team like what I was learning. And they're like, but I already have my own business. Like, I don't care to join network marketing. I was like, oh wait,
which is a very hard sell, by the way.
Yeah.
So come join my network marketing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I realized that there was like this opportunity to reach more people and to help more people. And so I decided at the time I wasn't going to take a step back from network marketing, but I was going to start pursuing this other avenue as well. And so I opened up one-on-one coaching, and after like 2 weeks of opening up one-on-one coaching with no expectation, having never done that before, I was booked out for months in advance. And so from there, I was like, okay, this is working really well, way better. I started making like $5,000 a month within like my very first month of business. And so
I 5X.
Nice.
Yeah. So I put my network marketing on pause. Again, never with the intention of like not coming back to it, but I was like, let's just see where this goes. But I never have gone back to network marketing, but it has played a huge role in my business, because I truly wouldn't be where I am today without network marketing, because that was that stepping stone from nursing school. So it's just been cool to see, but my momentum and my growth hasn't stopped. And so not just with my Instagram growth, but clientele base as well. So it's just been a wild journey.
So at what point was the hockey stick growth? Like where now you're at 287,000. When did that hit?
Yeah, so in August is when I grew from 4K to like 10K. And then by the end of that year, so between August and like December 31st, I had grown to 100,000 followers.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you're walking down the street, you're like, okay, everyone in the world, the whole world knows me at this point.
Yeah, and really at that point, like I would start to go out to like dinner, and people would be like, hey, are you Maya Nichol? And I was like, whoa, like this is
yes,
weird.
I am.
I'm like, yeah. But yeah, people
At
did
first you're
start
probably
to.
like, oh, are they just a friend I've met somewhere along
Yeah,
the way? Did I go
yeah.
to high school with this person?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
So yeah, that first year I hit 100,000 followers on Instagram and $100,000 in revenue in my business. So within 4 months, I hit 100K followers and 100K in revenue. So
Very nice.
yeah,
A little bit better than your $1,000 a
A little
month.
bit.
yeah, exactly.
And a
Right.
little
But-
more fun than nursing school.
yeah, for sure. And I found my passion along the way, which I think it's been such a blessing for me. You know, for me with nursing school, I thought that was my passion, but I think looking back, it's been really cool to see how pursuing different opportunities along the way has really led me to where I am today, which is living my true passion, which is really cool. And I just think that without saying yes to new opportunities and without being open to those things, I wouldn't be where I am today. If I had just said, oh, well, you know, network marketing, like, you know, I'm not going to try that out. And I had heard rumors, you know, about, you know, network marketing not being what network marketing is, but, you know, I didn't have that experience in network marketing. And if I hadn't have, you know, said yes to these people who were like, hey, do coaching for me, like take me on as your client, I wouldn't be where I am today either. And so it's just cool to see how, you know, these little doors, I've been able to walk through them and get to where I am.
What advice would you have? Because people are taking obviously you're seeing it. I mean, you're getting hit up and you're coaching people. Yeah. Like, what's the best advice if someone's wanting to get a start or grow their channel drastically? What are the steps to do that?
Start. I think that I know that
it's the thing we talk about the most,
all the
right? It's
time.
like, and that's also impressive what you did, because a lot of
With
times
the
people,
reels, they didn't tell you what kind of content
Yeah.
or what time of day, just do the reels.
Yeah.
Yes,
And you just did it.
You were going down a path, and then you like saw an opportunity. Your head's on a swivel. You're like, antennas up. Like, hey, what about this network marketing thing?
Yep.
And then you were able to pivot into something else, and then something else. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think just starting is the biggest thing. Like you said, I didn't have direction with what I was posting. I didn't have a niche.
You figure it out as you go.
Yeah, I figured it out as I went, and I oftentimes get asked by people like, what are the first few pieces of content that I should post? Like what exactly should I post? Do I need to have my niche right now? And I'm like, it's gonna evolve over time. And like, you're not gonna be good at it when you get started. Like you can go, like I said, you can go look back on my Instagram feed, like all the posts
like
are still
robotic
there.
kind of, yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
Rosie and Jen
Yeah.
Gottlieb do the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I've left my old stuff from
Yeah.
4 years ago on there. Scroll down and laugh with me.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, but it's so cool to be able to see where I've been able to go. And I think it's a lot of times we sit down and we look at where someone is on day 600 of their journey and we're like, oh, well, I'm going to start and be like them. But it's like, oh, like, let's go back to where they were on day one.
Look
and
at
it's
your
gonna be
chapter one
Yeah.
and compare to my chapter
Yeah,
one,
exactly.
not your chapter 20.
And I think
Yeah.
it just, don't be afraid to be a beginner, you know? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you don't have to jump in and be an expert. That was not my story whatsoever. You know, you have to learn trial by fire, you know, and trial by going through errors and failures. And I had plenty along the way. You know, I posted 90 reels in 90 days and I only grew a couple hundred followers. You know, that's a lot of content to be posting. That's a lot of days to be at it. And I didn't see the growth that all these other people were seeing, you know, and honestly, looking back too, I was probably comparing my journey to where, you know, they were probably already on day 300 of their journey, and I was just on day 1 too, you know.
Easy
but
to do.
I learned so much.
How often do you recommend your clients post? Is it the 90-day challenge, or is it more like, hey, do 2 or 3 or start here?
Yeah, you know, and this is kind of where the conversation of like quality and quantity comes in. For me, looking back on my journey, quantity drove quality. Like, I learned through posting at a high volume what quality content was and what I enjoyed creating and what my audience enjoyed consuming. And so it, to me, wasn't necessarily like it was a 90-day challenge that was like the end-all be-all answer to my growth. It was what I learned through posting at a high volume of content. Now, is that to say that you have to post at that high quantity to grow? No, definitely not the case. And I think that, you know, choosing something that's a little bit more sustainable for where you're at in your life is definitely the best way to go. And for me, I had all the time in the world to be working on my business. I didn't have a kid. I didn't have any other job. Like that was my full-time job, was basically creating content and selling at that time. And so I think whatever is most reasonable for you in terms of what you can consistently do over time. Because for me, I haven't taken a break in posting content since I very first started. Now, it's changed over time. I was posting for the first year 1 time per day, sometimes even 2 times per day, and now for me it looks more like 3 to 4 times per week. But again, I haven't like taken any sort of like long breaks, but I've just kind of shifted my posting schedule to fit my lifestyle.
So what's your greatest piece of advice? You know, you're coaching people on a regular basis. What would you say is the number one thing?
My greatest piece of advice would be to test and experiment. That for me has been pivotal on my journey, and I think so many times we're afraid of testing and experimenting. We just want to get it right on the first try, and we're just not going to get it right on the first try. And so for me,
so you're saying it doesn't have to be perfect?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. And even now, as an Instagram expert and having grown as much as I've grown, I'm still testing and experimenting. You'll see me oftentimes post 2 of the same reels, but with a different like hook on them, just to see what hook works better and what is most engaging. And you know, consumer behavior is always changing, the algorithm's always changing, and you have to be able to continually be a learner. You know, you have to be a student if you want to continue to grow. And so even as an expert, I'm always still being a student and always recognizing like there's always more to learn, and we're going to learn through experimenting.
Yeah, our motto here at Tax Hive is when you stop testing, you die.
Yeah.
Right,
I love
so
that.
which is you're constantly testing a new
Yeah.
hook, you're trying new things on a regular basis,
Yeah.
always recreating.
Yeah.
It's really brilliant. Well, follow Maya's journey. What's the best
how
place?
can they find you?
Yeah.
At Maya Nichol on Instagram, MayaNichol.com. Pretty much I'm Maya Nichol anywhere.
You're
I'm
going
on
to find
YouTube,
Maya
I'm on
Nichol,
TikTok.
guaranteed. Yeah, I searched it out and I've been following. It's incredible content.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
so
you for
much.
coming
It's an
today.
absolute honor to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
If any of you watching today have any doubts that your current CPA is not helping you take 100% advantage of the deductions you deserve and helping you stay compliant with the IRS, then don't hesitate to get involved with Tax Hive today. You won't be disappointed.